Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your man Pristine back with another video. Welcome to the full Pristine review for the LG K20 Plus. Now, I picked this phone up roughly about 2 weeks ago for my wife. I tried to get her to do the video, but she was camera shy. I didn't want to do it, even though I told her that I would basically guide her through it. But that's fine. I made sure that it's my wife. I mean, so we're together all the time. I use the phone. I watched how she used the phone to make sure that everything was running as it ought to. And she had nothing but good things to say about it. The few times that I used it on my own, it was a great experience. So I think this is a little advice that a lot of people are going to enjoy. Now, first off, just to start off, we're just start with the specs, just to kind of give you guys a quick idea of what's on board here. We've got a 5.3 720 by 1440 display. Okay, IPS display. We've got Corning Gorilla Glass 3 that is covering the front of the phone. We've got a Snapdragon 430 processor. We've got 2 gigs of RAM. We've got an Adreno 308 with a PPI pixel density of 277 for all the techies out there that are wondering. Now, you do have expandable storage up to 64 gigs. As I mentioned, the phone comes with 32 gigs of onboard storage. You can expand that up to 64 gigs. There is a nano SIM tray for dual nano SIMs, or you can have one nano SIM and the other SD card for expansion for memory. We do have a removable back to remove the battery. We've got a 2700 milliamp hour battery that's on board. And don't start sweating when I say 2700, because the processor that's in this phone is well optimized for that 2700 milliamp hour battery. So those are the specs really quickly. Now, the overall build quality. I have to say that this phone is a very sexy looking phone. Just the color combination that LG chose to go with on this device. You've got the black, and then, some may call that rose gold. It looks more like a copper tone to me, so I just refer to it as copper. But copper, rose gold, whatever, it looks nice, with the black. But you see here, we've got the 5.3-inch display. We've got a 5 megapixel front-facing selfie cam. We've got the speaker here for phone calls. Got a little LG branding there on the bottom, which is typical. To the right of the phone, we've got nothing. You see that beautiful rose gold or that copper trimming along the sides. At the top of the phone, we've just got a noise-canceling microphone. Okay. To the left of the phone, we've got the volume rockers up and down. Bottom of the phone, we've got a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, another noise-canceling microphone, and we've got a USB jack here for charging. Now, moving around to the back of the phone, we've got more LG branding. We've got the rear-mounted fingerprint sensor that also doubles as the power button and the sleep button to put the phone to sleep. We've got a 13 megapixel camera, and we've got the rear dual LED flash. Now, bottom of the phone here, we've got a rear-mounted speaker. Now, typically, I'm not a fan of this particular setup because of how muffled speakers tend to sound when they're sitting on the bottom. But I have to say that this speaker, right, it's like LG, they figured that, hey, the speaker is going to be on the back, so we have to do something to make this speaker sound loud and clear so that it's not muffled. Because typically, people, when they sit their phone down, they sit their phone down on its back, and if you've got a rear-mounted speaker, it's going to cover it up. But I do have to say that this speaker gets extremely, extremely loud, even while it's on its back. Okay, even while it's on its back. So that also means that when you lift the phone up, if it's in your hand, or if it's just, if you have the phone sitting on its back, but if you don't have the speaker covered, oh my goodness, I mean, huge sound, big sound coming from this little speaker right here on the rear of the phone. I was shocked. I was amazed. Definitely one of the best rear firing speakers that I've heard on a phone that has a rear firing speaker. So shout out to LG for that. So I gotta say, I love the build quality of this phone. I love the way that it looks. The back here, it is, it's a removable back. They chose not to go with the metal unibody. It's a plastic, but I like the material. I mean, if you could see the rigidity in the back. So it kind of has like this rubbery feel to it, although it's not rubber, but it just feels really good. I mean, it's nice and grippy. It's not one of those things where the phone feels like it's going to slip out of your hand. I do like the fact that, along the edges here, from the back scrolling all the way over to the sides and to the front of the phone, you can see that the edges are curved, and that's always good. When you're holding the phone, it's not like it's got, like the phone is squared. The corners are nice and rounded just to kind of fit in the palm of your hand comfortably, so you're not being poked by a square shaped device. So, I think this phone was designed very ergonomically well. I mean, just for, to hold in the hand. I mean, it's a nice, comfortable feel. I mean, it's got a premium feel to it, even though this is a budget device, or what would be considered a budget device due to the pricing. And I guess due to the specs as well. They don't have those real over the top premium specs. But the specs that do come in this phone, I mean, they do the job. I mean, that 435 processor coupled with the 2 gigs of RAM, I mean, it just performs buttery smooth. And I haven't seen any lag whatsoever. Now, let's go ahead and let me see here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier in the video, we do have a removable back, exposing that 2700 milliamp hour battery, which it is removable. So this is where you insert the battery or remove the battery. This is where you place your SIM card and your micro SD card for expansion. So yeah, nice and easy to get off. Not a big deal. And just go ahead and just snap it back on, and you're good to go. So I got to give a thumbs up for the build quality of this device. It doesn't feel cheap, even though it is an inexpensive product. I like the way this phone is built. It feels really good. Like I said, it appears as though it's got some durability. We've got Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on the front for protection. Now, I would recommend, as I do all my phones, to me, it doesn't matter what the price of the phone is. If I pay $100 for the phone, or if I pay damn near $1,000 for the phone, you want to make sure that you get yourself a screen protector, get a case for the phone to protect your investment, because these phones, they are not indestructible. It doesn't matter how well they're built. If you drop it from a great enough distance, the phone will break, the screen will crack. And I'm just the type of guy, I like to keep everything pristine. I don't want cracked screens. I don't want a bunch of dings and dents on my phone because I dropped it. So I'd recommend you protect your investment. Get a even if you don't want to get a tempered glass screen protector, just get like one of those hard plastic, good quality screen protectors, just to protect the screen. This is a beautiful 720 display. And yeah, I just, I'd prefer for you guys to protect your investment, man. These phones, even though they're inexpensive, I mean, it's still hard-earned money that's being spent on these devices. Now, performance. I gotta say, I was pretty pleased with the performance. I didn't really know too much about the Snapdragon 435 processor. I wasn't sure how efficient it is, or you hear so much about the 835 and the 821, the Snapdragon 820s, the Snapdragon 808s, the 625, which we know is definitely a really good processor, very efficient on battery life. But I gotta say, I mean, the 435 coupled with those 2 gigs of RAM, I mean, the phone just flows buttery smooth. You see there, I've got the carousel effect there for app swiping. You'll see, got a bunch of apps open in the background, and it just flows. It doesn't slow the phone down, not one bit. And you see I'm scrolling through apps that are open, buttery smooth. Let's take it to the settings. Now, I like this particular setup with LG devices. A lot of people, they don't like the LG skin, but I happen to love the LG skin. It's the LG skin over Android 7.0. But you can change the view. Now, this is the list view. If you want to, well, no, that's the tab view. So this is the list view. So this is conventional, like Android, when you have your settings, they're all just like in a list view. And although, they say right here, like wireless networks, and then you scroll down, then it has device, and then, all those things that fall under that particular category are there. Me personally, I happen to like the tab view. I like how it says networks there, and then you've got all your settings for all your networks. Then you've got sound and notification, all your sound and notification apps or settings pop up. You go to display, all your display settings pop up, and then general, all your general settings will pop up. I just like this. To me, I mean, it's a lot more cleaner. I like how everything is categorized in its own little area. I'm a big fan of it. Now, I got a black theme on the phone. I just think it looks really cool. My wife, she doesn't typically rock her phone like this. She's not really into like the different wallpapers and the different themes. I mean, she's very simple when it comes to phones. She's not really all that tech savvy. So she's the type, she'll get a phone and the same wallpaper that's on it usually will be the same wallpaper that she rocks with. She doesn't get like custom ringtones or anything like that. So I spiced it up a little bit, for the sake of the video. And it's a pretty nice looking app, or a nice looking theme. I like the way the apps look. You can see the screen quality. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Everything is crystal clear. There's no screen blur. I don't have a problem seeing anything. So, the performance, it performs really well. Now, the cameras are really impressive too for this little device. It's got a 5 megapixel front facing selfie cam. We've got a 13 megapixel rear camera. And let's see, let's just go to, so this is a photo that I took earlier today with the selfie cam. And it looks very realistic. It was a little lighter in the room, but colors didn't seem to be overexposed a bit, or not one bit. And then this is a photo that I took. We got babies in the house, and we got a little frog, and then we've got a little Android little speaker here. And I mean, those are very sharp. I mean, just the detail, with this 13 megapixel shooter is phenomenal. You got a bunch of different, camera options, that you can, customize, the camera to get the perfect shot that you want. So I got to give a thumbs up to the camera. The camera, in my personal opinion, is extremely solid on this device. Now, battery life. This battery is nothing short of amazing. And I have to say, I've watched my wife use this phone. I've used this phone. Some people, they may hear a 2700 milliamp hour battery. I mean, don't be so quick to assume that, it's just another phone that's not able to sustain battery. Oh, well, that's why they made the battery removable, because it can't keep a charge. That's not necessarily true. I mean, I think the Snapdragon 435 processor is well optimized, for this particular device. And so the battery life really lasts a long time. I mean, we could very easily, and a lot of it is just dependent on usage, obviously. But, just with moderate to heavy use, I mean, my wife and I, we were still able to pull down at least a good 5.5, maybe close to, maybe a little over 6 hours of screen on time. Just moderate use. We were easily able to get through a day and a half on one charge. And that's pretty good. I mean, there's phones that I've had that had, much bigger batteries that would drain in less time than that. Even with moderate, so, moderate use with this, we can get, easily a day and a half on one charge. On other phones that have bigger batteries, yeah, it's kind of tough to get a day and a half usage. But a lot of that just comes from the fact that, again, it's got that Snapdragon 435 processor. We've got a 720 HD display. We're not powering, a quad HD display. I feel like the processor is very, very, it's optimized well, and it's very efficient. Kind of reminds me of the 625 processor, not quite that particular caliber, but it kind of reminds me of it, the way that the battery is optimized with the processor and everything that this phone is offering. I mean, the battery life is solid. And again, another good thing about it is the battery is removable. I mean, so you can go ahead and grab yourself another battery. If this one drains, and you can just pop off the back, pop in a fresh battery, turn your phone back on, and you're right back at 100%. I mean, you're not going to charge a phone quicker than you can swap out a battery. So again, another thumbs up for the battery and the fact that it is a removable battery to change out if you need to. Now, this is more just a straightforward LG device. Not a whole lot of features. You do still have your knock off, knock on, We do have a fingerprint sensor, you know, on the back that is very responsive, works 100% of the time. See that? I mean, it's just very swift upon opening. See that? Lock. Barely tap. So you see that the fingerprint sensor is extremely responsive. You're not going to have an issue with it at all. Very easy setup. Yeah, I mean, you know, you are able to, you can change, you know, your buttons down here. I mean, you can basically customize them to be wherever you want them to be. So I like that. You know, I like the fact that LG, you know, will allow you to do that. And let's see, where's apps? Just wanted to go in the apps really quickly too, because I know that sometimes, you know, people, I've seen other reviewers where they would do demonstrations when they would try to make their phone lag. And I guess it's something about going into the apps setting under settings that when you're scrolling through them, you could tell whether or not the phone will stutter. And I've seen it in several reviewers' videos. And so I thought maybe, well, I'll try it just to see, you know, I don't want to misinform anyone, to see if there's any glitches or, you know, if there's things that can cause the phone to stutter. But no, I mean, as you can see, we're just scrolling through it with ease, no problem at all. And then, you know, we'll just go to recents, all the apps that are open. Buttery smooth. I mean, you know, you're definitely able to perform, you know, a lot of tasks on this phone while having a bunch of different apps open. I mean, it just doesn't really seem to slow down anything. So that's pretty much all I got for the LG K20 Plus, y'all. You know, my overall final thoughts, I think this phone is a really good buy. I think anybody that invested in this phone will be extremely happy with it. You know, it's a nice package. It's a good looking phone. You've got really decent front facing and rear facing cameras. You've got a good sounding, or a very loud, clear sounding rear firing speaker, surprisingly. The rear mounted speaker sounds really, really good. It actually sounds better than some phones that have speakers on the bottom. You know, now, of course, I would always prefer for speakers to be front facing. I mean, I feel like that's where you're going to get the best experience. But, you know, don't sleep on this speaker just because it's on the back. It sounds really, really, really good. I was very, very surprised at how this speaker sounds. So, yeah. Oh, now the price. This is the T-Mobile variant of this phone. This phone is also sold at Metro PCS, which at Metro PCS, it's also referred to as the LG K20 Plus. Now, it's interesting because different carriers have this phone, but it has different names. It's the same phone, same specs, but it has a different name. So like Verizon, if they have it under a different name. If Sprint has it, you know, they'll have it under a different name. So I find that to be kind of interesting, but I know that this phone is sold pretty much carrier wide. Verizon, I got this for $169.99 at a sale. The full retail price is $199.99, which isn't bad at all. I mean, I think, you know, even for full price at $200, I mean, this is a hell of a phone to get for $200. But I mean, if you can get it for less than that, man, I would jump all over it for a fact. So if you like this video, y'all, if you found it informative in any way, shape, or form, please hit that like button, share the video, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, to expose yourself to a vast amount of videos that I've already done like this one, and definitely stay tuned for much more content to come. And your subscription really helps out the channel. I know I've got some upcoming devices that I'm really looking forward to. I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to them. I just got word of the LG Stylo 3 Plus that's going to be coming to T-Mobile here in the next week or so. So I look forward to that on the channel. I'm looking forward to also getting my hands on the new BlackBerry K20. I personally, I've never had a BlackBerry device. I was going to get the Priv, but when I was thinking about getting it, you know, I got word that the K20 was coming out, and I was like, well, I might as well just wait for that one, since that's going to be BlackBerry's latest and greatest device. But so far, I mean, it's looking really good. So look forward to those phones on the channel amongst many more. And yeah, you guys keep it locked right here with Pristine Mobile Tech. Until the next video, you guys please stay safe, stay blessed, always keep God #1 in your lives, and definitely stay pristine, y'all. Until the next one. Peace. LG K20 Plus. Check that out, y'all.